Welcome to Longevity Deal Talk. We've got lots to talk about in this edition. This episode is made possible by support from the What's Next Longevity Venture Summit, coming in June. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with Mary Furlong. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Fred. We have plenty to do today.
We sure do. We want to get things started with the latest from Techstars. We had a chance to tune into the demo day held by Techstars and Pivotal Ventures, and we are very happy to have with us first Keith Camhai, Managing Director of the Techstars Future of Longevity Accelerator. Hi, Keith.
Hey, Fred. Hi, Mary. Great to be with you.
So great to see you, Keith, and congratulations on all you've done in such a short period of time. Why don't you start with a little background on Techstars and the Future of Longevity Accelerator?
Terrific. Yeah, no, I'd love to. I guess I'll start broadly with Techstars first and then dig into this particular program. Techstars at the highest level, we consider ourselves the worldwide network to help entrepreneurs succeed, and fundamentally inspired by the belief that entrepreneurs create a better future. And when you're looking at problems like we have in the longevity category, there's a lot of reason to be hopeful that entrepreneurs will come up with important solutions for us. But we were founded on the premise that starting a company is also hard and risky, and there are a lot more ways to fail than succeed. And so that's where we come in. We found that by supporting promising young companies at their earliest stages with both capital and mentorship from people who've been through the drill before, we can help them avoid some of the most common mistakes and help them get to a success much more quickly and avoid the major roadblocks that they might encounter. And so it's we run 46 accelerator programs around the world. Each one provides pre-seed funding and 3 months of intensive mentorship to 10 to 12 startups a year. And collectively, the metrics on, we've had 2,700 companies go through our programs they've gone on to raise $20 billion in funding with a market cap of over $70 billion and a lot of unicorns. And so the Techstars platform is kind of globally proven. What we're doing in longevity, though, is we have the pleasure of running this program in partnership with Melinda French Gates's fund, Pivotal Ventures, and we're focused on the unmet needs of older adults and their caregivers. And so that includes our 6 themes for the program: our caregiver support, care coordination, aging in place, financial wellness, preventive health, and social engagement. And so we just finished up year 2, and we're looking forward to year 3.
Now, they were fortunate to get Melinda to come and participate in this, and great resources. A lot of the Techstars incubators have corporate sponsors, right, of different kinds. So Melinda had a particular interest in caregiving. So tell us about your background, because they recruited an all-star. I think you're kind of Steve Curry of incubators here, but that's a California bias, I guess. But yeah. They got the dean of entrepreneurship, I would say. Keith, tell us how you related to Techstars before, and then why you decided to take a more hands-on role here.
Yeah, so this is exciting for me when Melinda French Gates gets involved and Pivotal gets involved. It creates an awfully special accelerator experience, and we work with partners, and about 2/3 of our programs have themes. Other ones are just sort of horizontal city programs. But this is a special one, I guess. Most broadly, my background was that I had success serving older adults as an entrepreneur early in my career with my own companies, and now I have the greatest platform in the world to help others do exactly that. And I guess to back up a little bit, I'm a techie by training, and I worked briefly in industry after grad school before answering my calling shortly thereafter in my 20s to become an entrepreneur. And my first company, which was the one that has sort of the longevity theme before that was a major focus in industry, was called FitLinks, and we created computerized interactive trainers attached to fitness equipment, and went on to raise over $50 million in venture capital for it. But our primary market was beginning exercisers and older adults. And so it was sort of the first what you call fitness tech and the first longevity economy play in the category before either term had been coined. So we didn't know that back then, that we'd have a category to call on. But that one ended up merging with the folks who put the sensor in the Nike sneaker and exited to a healthcare company. But then my second company was focused on child motor skill development and rolled out as a franchise. But maybe 7, 8 years ago, I started advising entrepreneurs in angel investing, and then joined Techstars 4 years ago in a management capacity. So I was overseeing our worldwide accelerator business, having all those accelerators were reporting up to me globally. But then when the opportunity came along to work with Pivotal in a category that I cared deeply about, both because of my business experience and also my personal experience that we all face with parents, in-laws, and so forth, I chose to, I got the opportunity to leave the dean's office and go to the classroom. And it's just been extraordinary to be hands-on sourcing and supporting these incredible founders who are working on this all-important category that you focus on all the time.
Well, and I, of course, really appreciate this because, like you, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and Melinda was involved with our second company, Third Age Media, and we were able to tap into her talent on branding and other things. So great to have her interest, also her leadership with women, and her excitement about the category of technology as it relates to caregiving. So talk about the current class of companies.
Yeah, so the class has been very, very special, and they just so we just wrapped up. We wrapped up just last week, and in what we call a demo day. And to your point, it doesn't get much better than having Melinda French Gates kick things off with her rationale for investing in the category and in the program, and kind of validating this is an investable category. After a couple of years back, it was much harder to come across venture funding for this, and it's the upward trajectory, and I think we've gone from a headwind to a bit of a tailwind almost in the category. And the demo day itself, which I appreciate your joining, was sort of the final pitch event for the companies, and it was a celebration of the milestone of finishing up, and gave them the opportunity to get in front of prospective partners, investors, customers, and so on, to take a look. And that we have 10 companies in the program. We clustered them broadly into 4 groups for the purposes of pitching. They're all kind of working on individual things, but we had hardware companies, wellness, marketplaces, and caregiving support and coordination. And so I'll just give you one quick phrase on each one, just so you get a flavor for what the companies were. And there's much more information out there for anyone who wants to dig into any of these. But in the hardware space, we have Abby building affordable high-tech wheelchairs that's disrupting that category that's been unattainable for too many people who don't have great insurance or can pay a lot out of pocket. Wave is creating smart cushioning to help prevent bed sores, which is a massive health and expense problem. Bright is implementing some cutting-edge science out of MIT on 40 hertz light therapy that might actually help in Alzheimer's prevention. Early days of that, but there's some promising research. And then in the wellness space, we had 2 great fitness tech companies. So that's near and dear to my heart, given my own background in the fitness tech space. But my FitPod is helping independent fit pros run their local businesses in support of primarily older adult audiences. And then Vivo is implementing a new scientifically backed strength training program for older adults in small group online classes, with a lot of support out of Duke University for research on that program. Our 2 marketplaces were Sadon, who is making Medicare plan selection simpler with Ask Claire. That's one of the most troubling marketplaces to search. It's so, you have hundreds of options to choose from, and very difficult to figure out where to turn for help. And then Better Co-Living is creating a platform for matching older adults to share homes to help age in place, both the expense and the loneliness issues that become so challenging for those who want to age in place. And then our final cluster in the caregiving and coordination category included Health Hive, that's supporting care coordination among clinicians and families. OndiCare is rolling out a marketplace for on-demand caregiving. And Kanumi is a concierge service that goes through employers, so B2B pay on behalf of employees who are dealing with all manner of issue for their older loved ones. And so collectively, the category, any one of these solutions would be material in moving forward the category overall.
Keith, tell us a little bit about the selection process, how you how you attract these companies and what you do with them leading up to the demo day.
Yeah, so we start applications months before the program begins, and so we start getting the word out, and that'll be coming up for the next class soon, and then through that process, we're trying to get just sort of get the word out to people who might be interested in the category and that might be at the accelerator stage. And then we go through a series of interviews. We read their applications and interview top candidates with a multi-step process to get them through to ultimately what will be a screening committee and a selection process. And then they go through a little bit of due diligence and ultimately get into the program. So it's a rigorous and competitive process to get in. But we look for great teams first and foremost, and then working in big markets. And then the idea and the traction are also on the list of things we look for, but they're less critical at this early stage because we find that great teams working on big markets can pivot their idea a bit with mentorship. So we don't worry that the idea is necessarily spot on right at the application stage. That becomes much more important for your seed and Series A rounds, but at our early stage, we'll back teams.
Well, we are going to be having our Venture Summit in June, so we'd love to see some of these companies apply. And in listening to their pitches, they are covering big markets that, you look at the market of care coordination, you look at the market of Medicare exchange, these are, and Vivio, we've known for a long time. And so we're very excited to see them come through the program, and your mentors are quite good. So you're really building an ecosystem, because now they will have to go out and do deals, and you will be helping them find some of those partners, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So between the people who are now surrounding this program directly, and then the Techstars platform broadly, the opportunity to connect with the global network, but both in the vertical and then horizontally for all people interested in all manner of early stage companies is an extraordinary feature of being part of a network like Techstars, as opposed to there are a lot of independent accelerators that can be terrific as well, but the Techstars gets that combination of this sort of who's who in any category we go into, plus the broad global horizontal of everyone interested in early stage. So it's if I did another startup, I'd take it back through Techstars. Even though I know the content of how to start a startup, the access to that network in that focused way, and the mentorship is truly extraordinary. That's what brought me here. That's what moved me from doing this independently to doing it on this platform.
And I've always been a fan of thesis-based incubators, because you have to understand all the channels. It's very exciting to know all the players. But home care is different than senior housing, that's different than an online play. And you have access to a lot of those relationships through your group.
Well, and that's part of the beauty of having Pivotal involved as well. This mentor base that we've put together, and that's really our secret sauce. Like we do this as a platform, but the secret sauce of any given program are the mentors who surround the program, because startup education is widely available. You can go see that online. There are classes for that, but it's the curated mentorship surrounding your company and your particular startup needs that gets so important. So we have 100 mentors who volunteer time in this program to work individually with companies, and each of the companies ended up with 5 or 6 lead mentors just working with them in particular, out of this massive speed dating effort we do at the front, where there are literally 120-minute meetings to get little tidbits of information from the whole mentor base, and then a pairing process to get to work with a handful of the mentors throughout the journey in the program. And it is incredibly powerful for helping them see what might come next for them in the category, making connections, mistake avoidance, and so forth. So it's powerful. I enjoy being part of it, and we've had the luxury of some amazing people volunteer their time to work with us.
Like Carrie Shaw, who was one of our winners. So,
well, I was going to say, Keith, I think you've whet the appetite of a lot of people watching or listening to this. So tell us about the Techstars calendar for this year and how people might be able to get involved, startups.
Yeah, so probably the best way to just track us with the calendar is we keep an active LinkedIn page, the Techstars Future of Longevity LinkedIn page. You can find us there, and you can go see our website on we have a Future of Longevity page within the Techstars website, so you can find us there as well. But we'll keep posting announcements on application opening dates and such through both of those platforms. And also we run some educational events with our with panelists who've been mentors, whether on investor panels or so forth, that relate to the accelerator in particular. So you can track that there. What we're expecting is that applications will open later this summer for the program that'll take place, in similar time frame next year. Or this early next year or late this year, so similar time frame.
Is it too soon to talk about any deals going on as a result of this past demo day?
Well, demo day was last week, so anyone who met them by then wouldn't already be in deal stage. But what's happening though is extraordinary. So there were actually deals done during the accelerator, which is kind of surprising and fast. So there were folks who came in by way of mentorship, even, who said, "I'm so excited about what I'm seeing here. I'd like to pre-invest in your next round." So a few companies got investment right during program. And then what's happening coming out of demo day is, we'll see it when it happens. But the trajectory, even just compared to same time last year, is that we have already within the week following demo day, we've had over 2.5 times as many views of that event. And so there was a 50% growth in live participation in demo day itself. And so you were there, you saw the chat going on with that. And then subsequently, we've had thousands of views of the YouTube recording of it. So that's, anyone can Google, Future of Longevity demo day and see the YouTube recording of it. And it's, an hour long. You can see the pictures from all the companies. But I think it just speaks to the traction of the category. And again, moving from some headwinds to tailwinds, in no small part due to all the effort that you've made over the years putting this on the map. But it's an exciting time to be in the category and to be coming out of an accelerator program like this to get some attention.
Well, we'll push people to watch that on YouTube. It's so great when you can see these things after, I think. And also there was one question about, will you take global applicants?
So our focus with Pivotal sponsorship is to focus on the caregiving challenges in the U.S. We'll take global applicants as long as they want to focus on the U.S. markets as a primary destination. We had a international company join us for this program, and we expect to continue to have that as an opportunity.
And you made a point of highlighting the diversity of the types of companies, the CEOs even, that participated here.
We're proud of that outcome, and I'll say that it wasn't just the process of getting there is, I think, the most interesting part, and something I really like to highlight, especially in my long career as an ally, and that's the role I like to play in supporting diverse founders. And I do it in part because grew up that way, but then in part because selfishly it's the right way to invest, because it turns out that talent is equally distributed even if opportunity isn't. So anyone who's investing disproportionately in a demographic cluster is absolutely missing the boat of a big opportunity set. And I have believed that my entire career, and then Techstars leans into that strongly. But so we did this by way of process, not by way of design of, hey, we want X% or whatever, and then the outcome proves that the process is right. But the process is simply run a transparent, inclusive, equitable process where everyone goes through the same thing and is judged on their merits. And it's in a known set of criteria. And it turns out that the people who are working on challenges and succeed successfully doing so often are the people who are seeing those challenges. And guess what? That in the longevity category, that's going to be diverse founders, women, older adults are solving these, and so it's not just gender and race, but age is one of the isms in the venture world too. There's famous quotes out that, oh, no successful founder starts after the age 32, and it's like, well, our class age, the average age of the CEOs was 50, which is I think record setting within Techstars, but also just not the conventional wisdom in venture. 50% of the founders were women. 70% of them are self-identified as being from groups that are traditionally underrepresented as founders in venture tech. And that's all, and they were the absolute best of our applicants. And so we are delighted that the outcome of a good inclusive process is a diverse class. And that proved out to be so helpful in running the program too. We had wonderful discussions and viewpoints internally among the class, and that class is bonded in a way that they will be both personal and business friends for life with one another.
Where's the best place for people to go for more info, Keith?
Well, so our website, the Techstars Future Longevity website, and then the demo day video, I think would be a great place. And then follow us on LinkedIn or Twitter.
This is really exciting. I mean, your leadership is spectacular. The team there is great. The mentors are wonderful. And it's really advancing the innovation very rapidly. It's almost like a university group that has a cohort, only better because they're going to stay colleagues forever as they build the businesses and really learn how to go to market, because a lot of your mentors are pretty seasoned in knowing what channels are open, what government programs they need to be affiliated with, and they can just get there a lot faster. And I love the diversity because caregiving has an impact on diverse populations, and why not support that effort, right?
No, I appreciate it. And absolutely. It's, I looked at the mentor list, and I told the companies right before we were kicking off these speed dating sessions that I was actually jealous of them, that they get to spend their next 3 weeks meeting with all these people, because it's just a who's who that and these are, and so there's just such a latent demand for people who want to give back to the category after having successful careers while still having successful careers. In the case you mentioned Carrie for an example, so like Carrie as an example, she was past the accelerator stage with her own business, as you know, and she came like saying, oh, I'd like to be part of that kind of an ecosystem. How can I get involved? I'm like, well, you want to mentor, and what an asset, right? And so we've got a lot of people like that who are involved, and it's a blast. I mean, if you enjoy supporting entrepreneurship, this is just a fun way to do it, and I think we'll have a massive impact on the category over time. And that's really what Pivotal is all about. I mean, they're looking to unstall, start making progress and catalyze progress in areas where it's stalled, and that's why their support and just giving the recognition and the capital to let us be able to do this is so helpful to getting it unstuck for so many founders.
We're hoping to cover the deal of Mackenzie Bezos, who just gave $8 million to NCOA. So of course, we love to see these women leaders investing in the future and in the future of aging. So we look forward to learning more about your next group, and we'll spread the word about this. So thanks so much, Fred.
Congratulations, Keith, to you and Pivotal Ventures on the work you're doing. And thank you so much for taking the time with us.
My pleasure. Thank you. And thanks for your leadership in the category. I appreciate it.
Mary, Pivotal Ventures, the other part of the equation here, is an investment and incubation company created by Melinda French Gates to advance social progress in the United States.
And the person there leading the caregiving strategy is Jennifer Steibel. So hi, Jennifer. So glad to have you with us today.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Fred. Thanks for having me.
We'd love to learn more about the work you're doing there and what led to the Future of Longevity program with Techstars.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of set the scene or take a step back, the caregiving system in this country is broken, and it has been for a long time. This isn't a symptom of the pandemic. This has actually been happening for many years, yet the pandemic shone a light on vulnerable populations and made the crisis more urgent. And now seeing innovators and investors and policymakers really addressing this issue and taking this on. We need to rebuild the care system in a way that makes it accessible and affordable to all families. And that includes the full spectrum of care, so including childcare and long-term care. So Pivotal Ventures, as you mentioned, we're looking to remove the barriers that hold people back. So we do that through investments, through advocacy, and through partnerships like the one we have with Techstars. And we support both nonprofit and private sector companies and leaders to pursue greater equality in the US. So to date, our biggest goal has been to accelerate women's power and influence in the US. And when we look at the barriers holding women back, unpaid caregiving very quickly rises to the top of that list. Caregiving responsibilities disproportionately fall to women and negatively impact their participation in the workforce and elsewhere in society. And we're really seeing that play out. Over the past 2 years alone, we've seen that women in the civilian labor force has shrunk by 830,000, where men's participation has grown. And we don't think that caregiving should be a choice between a paycheck and caring for your loved ones. So as we look at our work in caregiving, we look across the care spectrum. We look with a focus on innovation. How do we change the system? And we focus on 3 pillars. So the first is policy innovation, second is market innovation, and the third is market investment. When we think about policy innovation, first, Pivotal has been focused for a long time on passing a national paid leave policy. This is something we know works. It is active in every other developed country in the world. We're the only ones without one. But beyond this, what are the new policies that we should be testing at a state and local level to really move the needle on care? And market investment, we look at how do we crowd in new sources of capital into this space and shine the light on the huge market opportunity that we see in care. We're already seeing a ton of movement here. So we're seeing new funds emerge that are dedicated to care and blue chip VCs who are actively investing in this space. And then the third pillar is market innovation. And that's really about every other aspect of our lives has been changed by technology, yet how we care for one another has remained largely stagnant. So we're looking to grow that innovation pipeline and create a marketplace where Americans have more solutions and better solutions available to them. So we're looking at startups like Camhai and Vivo. How do we get the brightest minds like Chiquisha and Eric focused on this space? And this is really where the partnership with Techstars fits in.
Well, you've mentioned them already, so we're really happy to have with us a couple of the companies that were a part of the most recent class of startups. From Camhai, the founder and CEO, Chiquisha Kidd. Hi, Chiquisha.
Hi, Fred. How are you? Hi, Mary.
And from Vivo, founder and CEO, Eric Levitan. Hi, Eric.
Hey, Fred, Mary, great to see you both again.
Yes, it's great to have you with us. And Chiquisha, tell us your story and what inspired you to create the company. What does it do? And what was your experience in the Techstars Longevity Lab?
Well, I'll start with the last question first because Techstars was an amazing experience. It was one where you're hesitating when you're a co-founder or a founder of a company and it's your baby and you're giving up a little piece of that equity, but you're hoping that the resources and all the support that you're going to get are worth it. And I can unequivocally say that the Techstars Future of Longevity program was well worth it. And we were just talking, Eric and I were just talking about how much work we were able to get done. It's truly an accelerator. It's like a year's worth of work in 13 weeks. But Jennifer actually talked a little bit about why I'm here and why I'm an entrepreneur at this point. I've always been a corporate person. I was an investment banker for almost 10 years before becoming a P&L leader within a health insurance company. But I actually had that personal impact. I was one of the 44 million unpaid caregivers that was in the marketplace that was actually being pulled away from my job. And I was part of that lost productivity figure of $32 billion every year. And I was in a situation where I was in a great position. I had recently been promoted and family tragedy took me away from that with the loss of my father. And I had to become a full-time caregiver to my mom as she transitioned. Our company is a little bit different. What Canhai does is we provide licensed healthcare professionals as care concierges to older adults who are active agers. So folks that really want to stay socially engaged, stay independent as long as possible. And we're focused on early intervention and increased longevity. And these are people like my mom. So I actually am selfish in that I created a solution that is really for my mother because she's 81. She still plays competitive tennis. She drives. She lives independently, but she still needed support with some of the frustrating things of daily life, like coordinating her medical appointments around nutritionist care or for her diabetes, or finding reputable vendors to help her around the house, or things like preparing taxes or staying socially engaged. So our care concierge model does that with a relationship-driven approach that's tech-enabled for scalability, but the personal touch is what drives the stickiness and client engagement that we're able to achieve. And we're creating a solution that's an extension of the family. That's how we like to position ourselves. We're an extension of the family. Canhai actually means kin for family, umi, which is a Japanese and Malawian word for service. So we're here in service of families to support them through this journey and increase longevity.
That's wonderful. And so many people can relate to your situation. What great background you brought to the startup. So Eric, tell us a little bit about Vivo.
Well, I'll start and kind of echo, Chiquisha said it really, really well, that Techstars was this amazing program that was, as a former founder, I wasn't sure if it was the right move, but boy, did it make a big difference in the maturity of our organization and helping us understand the best way to have the greatest impact, which is what this is all about. And you can think about Vivo almost as a tool in the tool set for what Canhai is doing. We are an online fitness program for older adults that's really focused on building strength and mobility, but we do it in a very different way than what we're seeing today in the marketplace. What we see throughout the digital fitness world are video-based programs and live stream classes where you're really just an anonymous participant. Well, these are really effective tools if you're really self-motivated, if you're really knowledgeable, and if you have a pretty, you're pretty much free of chronic issues and pain. Unfortunately, most older adults really struggle to have all three of those. And so what we really need and what we really see being successful in terms of not only having real outcomes, but having real engagement and adoption and behavioral change is we need other human beings as a part of this solution. And so much like what Chiquisha is doing with Canhai, we have a very similar model where we leverage technology to be able to meet people where they are, but we have a human being who's involved that's really driving the engagement and the adoption of this program. And so we meet in small groups online via Zoom, where it is a group up to 8 people, where we have a live trainer who can see everybody. We're giving everybody individualized feedback. We're keeping them safe. We're correcting form. We're making sure they're challenged. We're adapting exercises for their specific level. And at the same time, we're creating social engagement and a sense of community. And that is driving engagement and retention. And what we're seeing is a really, really profound impact in someone's life. Because if you think about it, mobility is that first domino in the series of things that happen. As soon as we start to lose our mobility and our strength, our independence, that's when we create this burden on the care economy, and we require money being spent for expenses. We require other individuals to come in and help begin to facilitate this transition in your life. If we can just focus on the preventative nature of what's out there and look, we all lose muscle mass as we age. It's one of the most significant things that happens to every person on this planet. And there is not enough awareness around that. And there's not enough online programming to make accessible for people to help guide them through this so they can maintain their independence and maintain their strength.
I first met Melinda when she was Melinda French, and I was at SeniorNet, and Mrs. Gates had breast cancer, and we had a breast cancer forum. And I really have marveled watching her career and the relationships she's developed. So when you think of Pivotal, Jennifer, there's a lot of relationships Pivotal brings to the table. And when you think of Techstars and Keith, there's a lot of relationships they bring to the table. So can you talk a little bit about that network of relationships? Because it's an open sesame for the entrepreneurs to tap into, right?
That's the hope. I think one of the big strengths is bringing that network both from Pivotal and Techstars together, and it's a great partnership. And I think we're able to bring a broader purview of experts in this specific space to help support these companies in the ways that they need.
And the process of selecting which of these startups to work with, that has to be daunting because we hear and see so many. And tell us how that process worked and maybe why, what stood out with these two in particular who are with us here.
Well, we're fortunate to have a lot of companies to choose from, and it was very difficult to really ultimately narrow it down. But we're looking at the founder first. I think in early stage companies, you really are looking at the founder and the team, and can this team really go the distance? Looking at the idea, how does it really change the market? Is it iterative, or does it really take a big swing and do something different? And really looking at their traction. Do they have users who love them? And so it's really been it's quite a process to get them through. And these two in particular certainly stood out. And it's been amazing to watch the progress over 13 weeks, to see where the pitches begin when they're going through the process, and just the incredible progress, refinement that happens during the course of the program.
So do you have some words of wisdom for others who might think about applying to Techstars? I think, you could look at Yale, Harvard, get an MBA, but this 13 weeks is quite precious. And Keith said even deals happened among the group that was in the cohort.
Well, that's
the founders can tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm most excited about. And even being a part of Chiquisha's universe for the last 13 weeks was an honor and a privilege, because you learn so much about what these other companies are doing. And I think one of the wonderful things that Techstars is doing is it is encouraging that kind of collaboration. And one of the things I continue to see, specifically in this industry, is everyone's struggling with the same issues and really trying to go it alone. And there needs to be more collaboration. There needs to be more partnerships and alignment, because we are all working towards improving the lives of older adults in slightly different ways that will work way better if we work together. And so in a very specific example, what Chiquisha is doing, I think, is a natural extension from what we're doing, to be, again, that kind of an additional asset for her to be able to talk to her customers about how to maintain your independence, how to maintain your mobility. And what a great opportunity for me to bring to my customers to let them know about her service.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. So as Eric mentioned, we've already started having conversations around strategic partnerships, because what we do is we are a coordinator of care, but we're not the delivery service for that care. And so we need folks like Vivo, because as my mom's always told me, you have to keep moving, right? If you want to live a long time, you have to keep moving. So that fitness nutrition aspect is something that we've already seen in our early users as a frequent flyer in terms of service requests. So a partnership with Vivo makes all the sense in the world. And we've been able to cultivate those types of partnerships and collaborations through the program. So we have the ability to interact with other founders, learn from each other as we're looking at digital marketing campaigns, messaging, B2B strategy, but also leveraging the folks like Jennifer, who are amazing lead mentors. We created an entire B2B strategy with the support of our mentors, because we recognized, as Jennifer mentioned earlier, that lost productivity is a huge issue with relation to caregiving. And it's not just caregiving of children, it's caregiving of older adults as well. So we have 68% of employees saying that they are taking some form of work accommodation to care for older adults or loved ones who are over the age of 50, but there's no real services or benefits related to that. And that's what we're trying to develop at Camhai through our pilot partnerships. But it's with the support of folks like Vivo and Eric's company that are going to make that reality come true.
Any thoughts that you can share about how to deal with the employment crisis that's going on, and the way you've been able to navigate around that?
Yeah, one of the things, we're in early conversations with 5 pilot partners right now, 3 of which are employer groups, and we're having that exact question banter back and forth between us. What they're really looking to do is increase the level of employee engagement, and you can't have an engaged employee if they're distracted with day-to-day caregiving services that they're trying to provide for their loved ones. So how can we create tools and resources to be supportive of them in a way that actually drives utilization? It's actually the complete opposite of how they've looked at other voluntary benefits, where you want to keep utilization low so folks can make money. This is not that. They want to drive increased utilization. So you need to design benefits that really meet employees where they are so that you have increased utilization, which will directly lead to increased productivity because they're not distracted or disengaged because they have other caregiving duties.
And of
Eric?
course, with COVID, there's a whole change in the workforce. And we see it in San Francisco, we see it in other cities, where getting people to commit to their workplace. So having these kind of benefits is really important. The boomers are 76 this year at the low end, and in 10 years, they'll be 86. So there's spousal caregiving, there's parental caregiving. So this is very inspiring work. I am thrilled to have you on our show today.
Well, I was gonna let Eric take a crack at that last question too before we go into a wrap up here.
Well, and it was actually an excellent segue by Mary, because that's exactly what we're seeing is combining what Chiquisha just said with what Mary said is you do want to increase employee engagement. That's such a critical part of the benefits that we can provide as an organization to our employee base. But the fact that so many people are at home, it's that much harder to create engagement. And that's where we get excited from a Vivo perspective, because we can actually meet people where they are. And it's not just about keeping them healthy, which is certainly a big part of what we're doing, but it's actually developing community. And so if you're with a company that has a remotely dispersed, geographically dispersed workforce, but you can bring them together for shared experiences twice a week to exercise together, an amazing thing happens. Not only do you get the social engagement of the shared experience, but exercise in particular releases endorphins. So by the time you're done with this session, you feel good. And when you do something that makes you feel good with other people, you tend to have more positive feelings about the people you're doing that with. And so there's something really profound about tapping into that kind of experience that we're certainly looking to provide to employers.
Jennifer, from your perspective, I suppose it may not be that difficult to attract people to work with you, given that people want to do things perhaps that are worthwhile, that are rewarding.
Sure. So we work with partners really across the spectrum. We like to have flexible capital. So some of our partners are nonprofits, some of them are venture investments or funds or for-profit corporations, and we're able to really empower them to do the work. They're the ones doing the work on the ground. We want to make sure that we are setting them up for success, and we like to have these long-term partnerships and that are true partnerships where we're able to continue this dialogue, remain flexible when things change, for example, during COVID, and understanding the kind of external pressures that might change the initial vision, but really looking to move the needle on women's power and influence. And then certainly within the caregiving spectrum, how can we work together to change this system?
Well, thank you. That was so inspiring. Congratulations on all your good work. We're here to help in any way.
Well, we really appreciate all of you spending time with us. Congratulations on the success. Don't forget, you can find us, What's Next Longevity Deal Talk, along with our other podcast, What's Next Living Longer, Better, Smarter, at maryfurlong.com/podcasts. This edition was made possible by the What's Next Longevity Ventures Summit, taking place in June. Thank you for watching or listening.